We are back with another player perspective, and this week we are talking with Jdawg, the top laner for Blitzkrieg. Jdawg, how you doing?
Doing well, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. So, unfortunately, you guys are already knocked out of playoff contention, but that doesn't mean we can't play spoiler in your matchup against Nine Lives, correct?
Yeah.
So, before we go deeper into that, why don't we talk about how'd you get here? How'd you make your way into the LCUS?
Well, your cousin brought me over to one of your bonfires. We started talking about League. You brought up that you were a part of the LCUS, which was like a silver gold league, like more for fun, not super serious. And at the time, I was silver, so I thought it'd be a good fit. And you ended up swindling me into this mess.
All right. And how long have you been playing League of Legends before that?
Um, as of now, I've been playing for about 7 years, I think.
Okay. What matchup for the rest of this split, or maybe that already happened, are you or were you most excited about this split? Could be
Uh,
players against each other or teams.
it's got to be it's got to be week 5 top lane, me versus Rolexus. Two best tops in the league going at it.
All right. So you're really excited for this week then to kind of show Relexus how that top lane works.
Oh yeah. Now that now unfortunately we're out of playoffs, but that does mean my champion pool is no longer limited. So I'm gonna be giving him the work.
All right. So speaking of champion pool, what is your favorite champion in League of Legends? Either from a design perspective or maybe just someone you like playing.
It's got to be Lee Sin. I mean, you're able to duel early game. You're able to make plays at all stages of the game, even though your damage sort of falls off after like 20, 25 minutes. The champion's just never useless as long as you know what you're doing.
All right, all right. Is there? Do you have a favorite skin or maybe a skin line? Maybe one for Lee Sin or somebody else.
For Lee Sin, it's got to be Muay Thai, but my favorite skin in the game has to be the Mighty Jacks, the pink hockey jacks. It's just a classic. There's no beating it.
Yeah, always gotta honor that Mighty Ducks reference, you know.
Always.
So you've played in the LCUS before. You were on Blitzkrieg in Split Four, was it?
Yeah, split four.
And you were jungling. Unfortunately, you guys didn't make finals. Did you make playoffs that split? I don't recall.
Yeah. We lost in semis.
Okay, okay. So, what was that split like for you?
That split was much different for me. I had never been in a shot calling position before, so my comms were like pretty slim to none during split four. It was a lot of got to get lucky and washed up top laner controlling comms, and so I was just sort of farming and going where they told me to, helping out whoever asked me for a gank. Um, the biggest difference, if you don't mind me segueing into the difference between jungle and top between the two splits, has got to be comfort, just in general. I'm at my core solo queue player, and so coming into the team environment at all is always going to be weird if you're not used to it, and
Absolutely.
having to play a role that isn't instinctive for you and adjust to playing with a team and for a team rather than for yourself and trying to put the game on your back. It's a huge transition. There's comms, there's wave management is way more important in the competitive environment. You've got the questions that you have to ask yourself every 5 seconds. Do I help them take this ward? Do I place a ward here rather than there? What are they looking to do versus what we're looking to do? How do I make sure my team is successful in the next 2 to 3 minutes? And ultimately, how do we win this game? Right?
Right.
It's just questions that don't come up in solo queue because all you care about is getting as much gold as you can and being able to two shot the Nexus after you 1v5 a team fight, right?
Exactly. And that's kind of the major difference between uh, team versus solo queue environment. But what was the biggest adjustment for you, aside from comfort, going from jungle to top lane?
Oh man, the biggest adjustment had to be having to be conscious of where I am at a much more micro level in terms of lane. Like, don't step up too far, don't trade in the middle of minion waves, don't sit too far like away from the wave if I'm behind, so I don't miss out on XP. And the biggest thing is probably knowing when to TP and when not to. I don't take ignite top lane very often, just because it's a pretty cheese summoner in the competitive scene for top lane.
Okay.
TP advantage is huge for macro and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing, okay, if I make this TP play and it doesn't work out, it's now 6 minutes where we don't have a TP. That could cost us Baron if I'm split pushing, right?
On
It's
on
it's
top of
factoring
that,
all that stuff in.
on top of that, a bad TP also throws a huge advantage in your lane because if the other enemy top laner doesn't TP, he gets that advantage in the lane. You have to make a successful play with that TP.
Right. Yeah, all of a sudden, you make the TP play and then you get back to lane, he's 30 farm up in 2 levels and you're just wondering what happened in the last minute.
Exactly. So a little bit more back on the track of memory lane. What are the differences between, I guess, team dynamic this split versus that previous split? Are you
So,
more vocal this split, or
oh,
have
much more
you?
vocal, yeah.
Okay,
Still not in a primary shot calling position. I don't believe any of us are. It's more of a give and take. It's a collective effort with us this split between me, Sigtal Lord, and Ace. But it's nice being able to bounce your ideas off of people, or just be there to confirm or deny, like whether information's correct or if this is the correct thing to do. Not having that responsibility on a single member, I think, is key.
all right.
Whereas split four, it was, like I said, it was all got to get lucky and washed up top laner, and I was just kind of like, yeah, thumbs up, here we go, I'm down.
It's always nice to have that someone else, that commanding presence there to kind of guide you through the game, especially if it's working out also.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely.
so before you get ready for a game, do you have any like pre-match or post-match rituals that you go through either to get hyped up for a match or to decompress afterwards?
Yeah, so before a match, I will grab a couple of diet sodas or a bottle of water or something, just to make sure my throat doesn't get too dry or whatever during the game.
Right.
I don't want my voice to crack while I'm calling out a play, right? That'd be super embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll crack all my knuckles on my fingers. It's weird, but I do it before every game. And then before a set, I'll do anywhere from 10 to 30 push-ups, depending on how stressed out I am.
Okay. Um, so as we discussed before, you're already unfortunately out of playoffs. Um, so I guess we have the benefit of looking at what are your playoff predictions then? Because right now, as the standings stand, it's 9 lives at the top, option 12 and Northern Storm sitting in second, and uh, Phoenix sitting there waiting for White Wolf to challenge them to get into playoffs.
So my prediction would be Northern Storm finishes the split first.
Okay.
Um, I don't see us going 0-2 into 9 lives,
Okay.
and I don't see Northern Storm dropping a game to White Wolf.
Okay.
So I do believe that since they have tiebreaker over 9 lives, Northern Storm will finish first with 10 points, and you'll have 9 lives likely in second place. I do think O12 and Phoenix are going to 1-1. So I think the way the standings are right now is pretty similar to how it's going to end. You just switch 1 and 2, right, with 9 lives in Northern Storm.
Okay.
I would predict that were that to happen, Northern Storm is going to 2-0 Phoenix in the first round,
All right.
and 9 lives will 2-1 option 12.
Okay.
And then I think Northern Storm is going to, it's a best of 5 finals, right?
Correct.
It's either 3-1 or 3-0 for Northern Storm, I think, in the finals.
All right. So Jdawg's here predicting Northern Storm rounds out the split at the top and takes the finals. All right.
Oh, yeah. Easy clap.
I think it's a pretty sound prediction. Do you have any reasoning why, just based on their performance, or you just got a feeling?
I just have a feeling. I don't know. It seems as though this split there's no one team that's necessarily better than the rest, but each team plays differently into each team, depending on their opponent. And I just feel like the combination of matchups is just favorable for Northern Storm. I think going into week 5 and then playoffs, I feel like they have like a slight mental edge. It seems
Okay.
it's hard to explain. Gut feeling basically.
All right. We'll see if Nine Lives mid split surge can push them through the end, or if Northern Storm can stop their downward trend.
Yeah, we'll see.